Welcome, Rebecca Gitomer, Director of Development, CareerVillage.org. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Why is the work of the EDSAFE AI Alliance so critical at this moment?
So, really, I think what the main answer to this question is how fast the pace of AI is moving in terms of tech advancements and how cutting edge and quickly everything is changing. And there's all of these new tools that are coming to market, all of these new opportunities. And as a result, there's also a lot of need for the social sector to be leading in terms of how to make these tools built responsibly, and so that they can serve everybody. And so it's of the utmost importance that we're able to set standards and really create a pathway for more people to engage in this work and take advantage of these tools because they are so innovative and have so much potential for impact. And we really need to figure out a way to harness that and create scaffolding so that it's available for everybody.
What are some ways that you've been involved with EdSafe AI Alliance and the SAFE framework?
Yeah, so careervillage.org is a proud member of EdSafe's Industry Council. And just some context of who we are as an organization. We're a nonprofit, and our mission is to democratize access to career information and advice. And we're really known for bringing together community and technology to help people prepare for careers at scale, driving impact at scale. And so we've been leveraging the latest technology for a number of years. And our newest program is called Coach, and that's an AI career coaching platform. And so in building that tool, we very, very quickly realized how important it was going to be to make sure that the tool was built responsibly and that that is really the framework that guides all of our decisions, design decisions, partnership decisions. And that is sort of like the centerpiece of the tool. And so we follow an 8-part responsible AI framework that's very similar to the SAFE framework as well. It includes things like bias, co-designing with our beneficiaries, with our partners, with our educators, creating monitoring systems and scaffolding and guardrails. And really that's a major investment on our team and something that we feel really proud is the kind of key quality of our tool. And we think that that should really be the standard. And so we're really grateful to be in coalition with partners like EdSafe and others to drive this work forward.
What do you feel are some of the biggest challenges that exist around safe and equitable AI currently?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges that we're facing is really the speed of innovation of AI. I think that leads to a lot of opportunities. It's awesome to see how many new tools can be developed and new capabilities that AI is unlocking for the social impact sector. However, the challenge there is it's moving so fast that policy actually can't keep up at the same pace. And so we really need coalitions such as EdSafe and others to really come together, different institutions that are practitioners in the field, to share what we're learning, where are gaps, how can we really grow together to create this scaffolding and standards that allows us to adopt this across the education sector um, at the same speed in which innovation is happening. And so I think to that end, there's also a difficulty for the education institutions, leaders, educators to really gain the vocabulary and understand what it is that these tools are capable of because it's changing all the time. And so we need to really make sure that we're helping give vocabulary and frameworks to evaluate tools and really understand them in their completion so that institutions can adopt them and feel safe and secure in their choices. Um, and I think that the sector overall just really needs more resources for this work. And that's really where we risk widening gaps. If there isn't enough resources and also access to these tools, it's going to widen gaps.
Similarly, what do you feel are some of the biggest opportunities that exist at this moment?
One of the biggest opportunities I think that AI brings is also the ability to close gaps. So it's a challenge, but I think it's also a really massive opportunity. And there's a huge potential for AI to be driving personalization at scale, impact at scale, as long as the access is there and also the tools are able to be understood and leveraged in the way that they are meant to be. And so there's a huge opportunity for all of the learners and educators around the world to be gaining access to unprecedented levels of super high quality tooling. And I think the other really exciting opportunity that AI brings is the ability to reduce silos. And I think that's something that I'm really proud of, the work that we're doing with Coach. For example, one of the ways, just to make it concrete and tangible, one of the ways that's manifesting in our program is we have a database of resources of third parties, so different institutions, peers in the sector that are creating career development. We're in the career development space, so that's what's most relevant for us. And it's an aggregation of all of these tools and resources. And Coach is able to suggest personalized resources for the learner at the right time and place. And so previously, where it's go to Google, really difficult to find the specific tool or resource or article that makes sense for you in that moment. And it's emotional to do that too. It takes time. Now we're able to kind of take all of that complexity and just spit it out in the tool, right? And it's in and of itself. And so for me, that's such an important ability of AI to make our sector more cohesive, to really help us communicate with each other. And I think it's birthed some really beautiful cross-sector conversations. Like, for example, this coalition is an example of how we're coming together. We see that there's a need to sort of be on the same page and an urgency to do that. And so I think AI sort of lighting the fire under all of us is really a big opportunity.
What are the ethical implications of using AI in education, particularly concerning student data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the potential for increased digital divides?
So there's a lot of ethical implications that we should talk about. I'll sort of try to take them one by one. Student safety and security is of paramount concern. I don't want to say concern in a negative way, but that's super important to be thinking about and making sure that you have the right policy in place to safeguard private information of students. It's very simple. It's not much more complex than that. Bias is really important, that it's actually not theoretical and that we really look at what is the work of testing for bias. So for example, with our tool, we developed a list of all different types of biases. So gender bias or ethnicity bias, racial bias, is coach bias towards college versus not going to college. There's a list of 100 plus different biases that we identified, and it's ongoing. And we literally try to break the coach and ask it to say something biased, and then we can train it from there and make sure it's an iterative process. And that's work that's going to be ongoing. We'll never stop testing it for bias. That's something that we're doing in coalition and in partnership with the ecosystem to make sure that our own bias as an organization and blind spots are also challenged, and make sure that it's reflective of real needs across, yeah, a lot of different types of populations. Another ethical consideration is hallucination and harmful content. And is an AI tool going to say something that's real? Is it true? And so for us, how we are approaching that is building multiple levels of monitoring systems. So there's an automated system and there's also a human review. This is something that we have been doing for many, many years with our other programs and platforms. And it's very, very essential. And that's a huge investment. That is really what we learned, is that it is actually quite easy to build these tools, these AI tools. But what's really, really difficult is to build the systems around it that makes it done ethically and responsibly. And so a lot of our resources went into that framework and scaffolding and guardrails. And then in terms of the digital divide, I think that this is really where the challenge opportunity come to face each other. Yes, there is a digital divide in this country, and that's going to be one of the challenges that these tools is making sure that they do have widespread access across different populations. And so we really need to make sure that we're resourcing schools and other institutions to be able to get access, and not only to get access, but also to know how to use the tools. because access is not enough. If you just give somebody a tool and say use it, it's not enough. They need to learn how to use it and to really make the most of those tools. Yeah. To build relationships with their students, to interact with learners in a way that technology cannot, and to also free up their time from various administrative burdens or just things that they don't need to spend as much mind space on, and to just make their work more efficient so that they can really be there with their learners and support them with their careers, support them emotionally, give them that personalization that really only humans can give. So it's the same narrative that we're feeling in general, within the context of human versus AI. Like AI is not going to take over humans because humans have unique human skills. And so it's the same thing with educators. And I think super key in making sure educator skills supported is training. I mean, I keep saying this trope of that it's not enough to give access to the tools. We need to teach learners and we need to teach educators how to effectively use them. And that is not a one size fits all formula. We really need to be adaptive to different learning contexts, whether it's an after school program or, an advisor or an English teacher, all these different use cases, they all have different needs. And so that's that's another challenge, is figuring out scalable training models that really work across unique contexts and being able and willing to be adaptive and learn together. And so our training that we're providing for coach is very iterative. We have really robust feedback channels, and that's at the learner and at the educator level, because this is work that's constantly evolving. I mean, if the technology is going to be constantly evolving, we also need to make sure that our support programs, our training, everything that we're doing to uplift these tools and integrate them into settings is also evolving, and in touch with needs. And so I think that's the way to set educators up for success. And really something that we're realizing is that institutions also lack capacity to really prioritize innovation and adding innovative tools. And so as a sector, we really need to think about how can we build institutional capacity to even try out these tools. Because yes, eventually they will build capacity. We're seeing they're already building capacity, but there's a learning curve and there's an upfront investment from a time perspective that educators and institutions need to put into really understanding these tools, where they fit in, how to optimize them. And we need to be giving resources to institutions to make sure that they can do that effectively and at scale.
Rebecca Gitomer, careervillage.org. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thanks for having me.